Renaissance thinkers in the 15th and 16th centuries often turned for inspiration to the cultures of ancient Greece and Rome as they tried to introduce humanistic attitudes into the arts. This fascination was still evident in the early 1600s, when a group of Florentine intellectuals came together to plan a revival of Greek drama. To heighten the dramatic impact, they wanted the characters to sing instead of speak their parts. But they wanted the words to be understood. They devised a technique that bridged song and speech with simple instrumental accompaniment. Several composers attempted pieces in this style. When one composer finally set a full-length drama to music, opera was born. But the new singing style, attractive in theory, was monotonous in practice. It appealed mainly to intellectuals or aristocrats who liked to be known for supporting new movements in the arts. Ancient myths were favorite subjects for the lavish productions these aristocrats financed. A special favorite was the story of Orpheus, the musician. Claudio Monteverdi's Orfeo, the first opera to win artistic and public acclaim, used this story, introducing flowing melodies to replace dry, speech-like singing. Monteverdi's operas also used large casts, elaborate costumes, special effects, and a whole orchestra. With the general public, not just the aristocracy, flocking to performances, opera spread quickly throughout the major Italian city-states, achieving its greatest impact in Venice, which was the center of adventurous musical activity. Venice's first public opera house was built in 1637, by which time the new art form was a popular sensation. During the next 60 years, 350 new operas were performed in Venice alone. The new works were very different from the early Florentine style. A rapid conversational type of singing called recitative moved the story along. The action would stop periodically for a flowing melody called an aria, in which a character expressed feelings related to that moment in the plot. By now, singers had developed their technique to equal the flexibility and tonal purity of a musical instrument. This was the art of bel canto, literally beautiful singing. Singers were expected to show off their skill by embellishing the written music with elaborate vocal displays. Leading roles were written for a special type of voice called a castrato. Talented boys were castrated before puberty so that their voices, instead of deepening, developed a purity and strength that has never been duplicated. Their artistry, and that of the prima donnas, the leading ladies, were opera's main attractions. Lavish, even garish stage effects, calling for complicated machinery, were featured. The story lost its importance, giving rise to a conflict that has continued ever since between those who see opera as a spectacular setting for singing and those who view it as drama heightened by music. The opera house in the 1600s was a social center. Audiences talked, ate, gambled, and carried on all sorts of intrigue during the show, pausing only to hear their favorite arias. But opera was not the only musical activity flourishing in Venice. Basilica of St. Mark's also provided a setting for musical experiments, encouraged by its art-loving administrators. The church's unusual design created acoustical effects that had long challenged composers. Giovanni Gabrieli arranged choral and instrumental groups at different sides of the cathedral, having them play both alternately and together. Though not the originator, Gabrieli became the master of these grand effects. Gabrieli was one of the first composers to specify dynamic gradations, or levels of loudness, in his music, and to call for specific instrumentation. His music, based on an expansion of the motet idea, used vivid contrasts instead of complex polyphony. These novel effects heralded a new set of artistic and musical values based on sharp contrasts and vigorous expression, unlike Renaissance music. The new style, which gained ascendance around 1600, was given its name decades later. Baroque, implying flamboyant or overly ornate. Ancient myths, with their heroism, grandeur, and excitement, were popular with Baroque composers. They used common formulas understood by both musicians and listeners to represent the strong emotions they were trying to express. 17th century musicians believed that a small piece of music, or a selection of a larger piece, could express only a single mood or emotion. Its impact was strongest, they felt, if a section depicting one particular mood was heard following another with a different feeling. Contrasts of loud and soft, or fast and slow, such as those introduced in St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, were used to produce the desired effects. Baroque composers introduced another element of contrast in their music by using a flowing melodic soprano line and a strong supportive bass line, breaking away from the smooth blend of sounds and colors considered ideal during the Renaissance.